Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapatakalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunatanmitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Pando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशत्तरिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Era Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Era Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Ribol. Okay, so today we continue chapter 9, Destination After Death. Sarvadvarani samyamya mano hridhi nirudhya cha murdhyadyatmana pranam astito yogadharanam. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in Yoga, Bhagavad Gita 8:12. One translation of the word yoga is plus, that is just the opposite of minus. At the present moment, due to our materially contaminated consciousness, we are minus God. When we add God to our lives, when we connect with Him, life is perfected. This process has to be finished at the time of death. Therefore, as long as we are alive, we have to practice approaching that point of perfection so that at the time of death, when we give up this material body, we can realize the Supreme. Prayana kale manachalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bruvor madhye pranam avishya samyak Satam param purusham upaiti divyam. One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and with full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita 8:10. The words prayana kale mean at the time of death. Life is kind of preparation for the final examination, which is death. If we pass that examination, we are transferred to the spiritual world. According to a very common Bengali proverb, whatever you do for your perfection will be tested at the time of your death. This process by which the yogi closes the doors of the senses is technically called pratyahara, meaning just the opposite. Presently, our senses are engaged in seeing worldly beauty, just the opposite means retracting the senses from the beauty and seeing the beauty inside. Hearing is concentrated on the Omkara sound that is within. Similarly, all the other senses are withdrawn from the external activity. The mind is then concentrated on the Vishnumurti within the heart. Manah Hridi Nirudhya. The word Nirudhya means confining, the mind within the heart. When the yogi has thus withdrawn his senses and concentrated his mind, He transfers the life air to the top of the head and decides where he should go. There are innumerable planets, and beyond these planets is the spiritual world. The yogis obtain information of these planets from the Vedic literature, just as before coming to the United States, I obtained information about this country from books. Since all the higher planets in the spiritual world are described in the Vedic literatures, the yogi knows everything and can transfer himself to any planet he likes. He does not need a material spaceship. Scientists have been trying for many years to reach the other planets with spaceships, but this is not the process. Maybe by this means 1 or 2 men can reach a planet, but that is not the general process. It is not possible for everyone. Generally, if one wants to transfer himself to a higher planet, he practices the Jnana Yoga system, not the Bhakti Yoga system. The system of Bhakti Yoga is not used for attaining any material planet. The devotees of Krishna are not interested in any planet within this material universe because they know that on all planets the 4 basic miseries exist: birth, old age, disease, and death. In the higher planets, one's lifespan may be much greater than on this planet, Earth, but death is ultimately there. Therefore, those who are in Krishna consciousness are not interested in material life, but spiritual life, which means relief from these fourfold miseries. Those who are intelligent do not try to elevate themselves to any planet within this material world. To attain a higher planet, one has to prepare a particular type of body to enable one to live on that planet. We cannot attain these planets by artificial materialistic means, because a suitable body is necessary to live there. We can stay within the water only a short while, but fish are living there their entire lives. But the fish does not have a body suitable for living on the land. Similarly, to enter a higher planet, one has to prepare a suitable body. In the higher planet, 6 of our months are equal to 1 of their days, and the inhabitants of these planets live 10,000 years. This is all described in the Vedic literatures. Although the lifespan of this planet is very long, there is ultimately death. After 10,000 years, 20,000 years, or millions of years, it doesn't matter, death is ultimately there. In the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, however, we learn that we are not subjected to death. Najayate mridyate vakadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ayo nitya sasvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is never birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita 2:20. Krishna thus instructs us that we are spirit, soul, and eternal. Therefore, why should we subject ourselves to birth and death? One who utilizes his intelligence can understand this. One who is situated in Krishna consciousness is not interested in promotion to any planet where death exists. Rather, being promoted to the spiritual sky, he receives a body just like God's. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. God's body is Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge, and full of pleasure. Okay, Hare Krishna. Who wants to continue?
Can I prove?
Hare Krishna is Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is called the reservoir of all pleasure. If upon leaving this body, we transfer ourselves to the spiritual world, to Krishna's planet or any other spiritual planet, we attain a similar body of Satchidananda. The spirit soul is a very minute practical within the body. It cannot be seen like the external body, but it is sustaining the external body. The object of the Sat Chakra system is to locate the soul at the topmost part of the head. From there, one who is perfect in Dhyana Yoga can transfer himself to the higher planet at will. That is the perfection of this type of yoga. the dhyana yogi is somewhat like a traveler who thinks, oh, let me see what the moon is like. Then I will transform myself to higher planets. He goes from here to there in the universe, just just as on Earth traveler go from New York to California or Canada. But a Krishna conscious person is not interested in such a interplanetary travel within the material universe. His goal is service to Krishna and transfer to the spiritual sky. Om iti ikasaram brahma व्याहरन् व्याहरन् मम अनुस्मरन् यः प्रयाति त्यजं देहं स याति paramam गतिम्. After being situated in this yoga practice, the vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters. If one of think of the supreme personality of Godhead and quit his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet. Bhagavad Gita 8.31. Om or Omkara is the concise form of impersonal form of the transcendental vibration. The Dhyana yogi should vibrate Om while remembering Krishna or Vishnu, the supreme personality of Godhead. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound of Hare Krishna contain Om. Whatever the case, the entire yoga system aims the concentration on Vishnu. Impersonalists may imagine a form of Vishnu, but the personalists do not imagine. They actually see the form of the Supreme Lord. Wherever one imagine or factually sees, one has to concentrate his mind on the Vishnu form. Here the word Mam means unto the Supreme Lord Vishnu. If one can remember Vishnu upon quitting this body, he never enter into the spiritual kingdom. One who is intelligent naturally think I am permanent and eternal. Why should I be interested in this thing that are not permanent? Actually, no one wants an existence that is the temporary. If we are living in an apartment of and the landlord asks us to vacate, we have to do so whatever we want to live or not. However, if we move to better apartment, we are not sorry. It is our natural, however, to want to remain nature, however, to want to remain wherever we live. This is because we are permanent and want a permanent residence. Our inclination is to remain. Therefore, we don't want to die. We don't want to miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. There are external miseries inflicted by material nature, and they attack us like some fever. In order to extricate ourselves, we have to take certain precautions to get rid of these miseries. It is necessary to get rid of the material body because these miseries are inherent in material existence. Those by vibrating Om or leaving the material body think they yogi transform the spiritual world. Those who are not personalist, per- those who are not personalists, however, cannot enter into the spiritual planet of Lord Shri Krishna. They remain outside in the Brahmajyoti effulgence. Just as the sunshine is not different from the sun globe, the Brahmajyoti effulgence of the Supreme Lord is not different from the Supreme Lord. The impersonalists are placed in that Brahmajyoti as mere particles. Are spiritual, we are spiritual spark, and the Brahmajyoti is full of this spiritual spark in this way. The impersonalist merge into the spiritual existence, however, individual is retained because the spirit soul is co- constitutionally an individual because the imperialists don't want a personal form. They are placed and held in the impersonalist Brahmajyoti. There are exists just as atom exists within the sunshine. The individual spiritual spark remain within the Brahmajyoti as if homogeneous. Are living entities we all want enjoy. We do not simply want existence. We are constitutionally Satchida Ananda external, Sat full of knowledge, Chit and full of bliss, Ananda. Those who enter the impersonal Brahmajyoti in the knowledge that now I am merged. I am now one with the Brahma. All through this eternal and knowledge bliss, Ananda is lacking. Who can remain alone in a room year after year reading some books and trying to enjoy himself? We cannot remain alone forever. Eventually, we will leave that room and look for some association. It is our na- nature to want some recreation with others. The impersonalist dissatisfied with the loneliness of their position in the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, therefore return again to this material world. This is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. ये नये रविन्दाक्ष विमुखा मणिनास त्वयि अस्तभवद् अविशुद्धबद्धया अरुह्य कर्चवेन परम पदम ततः पतान्ति अधो नद्रता यस्माद् अनङ्ग्रहया. O lotus eye Lord, all through although non-devotees who accept your austerities and penance to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. The impersonalists are like astronauts in search of a planet. If they cannot rest in some planet, they have to return to Earth. It is their here stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Anadrata Yasmad Anagrahaya, that the impressionist must return to the material world because he has neglected to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotions. As long as we are on the earth, we should practice to love and serve Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Then we can enter his spiritual planet. If we are not trained up in this way, we can never enter the Brahmajyoti as an imperialist. But there is a very risky that we will again fall down into material existence. Are out of loneliness, we will search out some association, therefore return to the material world. We have actually want this the eternal association of the Supreme Lord. This is our constitutional position of eternal knowledge and pleasure. If we are alone, if we do not associate with the Supreme Lord, that pleasure is lacking for want. Pleasure we will uncomfortable for want. Of pleasure we will accept any kind of association, any kind of pleasure. Therefore, out of kind of desperation, we will say, all right, then let me have material pleasure again. That is the risk the imperialists take. For want of pleasure, we will uncomfort. In the material world, the highest pleasure is found in sex. That is that is but a purported reflection of the pleasure experienced with Krishna in the spiritual world. Unless there is a sex present in the spiritual world, it cannot be reflected here. However, we should understand that here the reflection is perverted. Actual life is there in Krishna. Krishna is full of pleasure, and if we train ourselves to serve Him in a Krishna consciousness, it will be possible at the time of death to transfer ourselves to the spiritual world and enter into Krishna Lok, Krishna's planet, and enjoy ourselves in the association of Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's planet is described in Brahma Samhita 5.29 in this way. Chintamani Prakash Sadamashu Kalpa Vriksha Laksha Vratesh Surubhir Abhiplayantam Lakshmi Sahastra Sata Sambharam Sevamanam Govindamadipurusham Tamham Bhajami. I am worship Govinda, Govinda, the primary Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the Surbhi cow, that fulfilled all desire, who is surrounded by millions of purpose, fish, wish fulfilling trees, and about built with spiritual gems, and who is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddess of fortune. In this way, Krishna log is described. There, the houses are made of touchstone, chintamani. If a small particle of touchstone touch an iron rod, that rod will immediately turn into gold. Of course, in this material world, we have no experience with such a thing, touchstone. But according to Brahma Samhita, all the support in Krishna Lok are composed of touchstone. Similarly, the tree there are called desired tree, Kalpa Vriksha, because the can get whatever he desires from them. Here we can get only mangoes from a mango tree, but in the Krishna Lok we can get whatever we desire from any tree because the tree are a Kalpa Vriksha. That is, this is just a partial description of Krishna Lok, Krishna's eternal abode in the spiritual sky. The conclusion, therefore, is not to try to elevate ourselves to any material planet because the same miserable condition of very cheap birth, old age, disease, and death exist in all of them. Scientists are very proud of scientific advancement, but they are not have been able to check old age, disease, and death. They can manufacture something to accelerate death, but nothing that can stop that. It is not within their power. Those who are intelligent are interested in putting an end to birth, old age, disease, and that entering into a spiritual fully of eternally bliss and knowledge. The Bhakti Yogi knows that such a life is possible through practice of Krishna consciousness and remembrance of Krishna's at the time of death. Ananya 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 Chetha Satam या मां स्मृति नित्यसः तस्य महासुलभं प्रथा नियता युक्तसा योगिनः. For one who remember me without deviation, I am easy to obtain asana path because of this constant engagement in devotion service. Bhagavad Gita 8.14. In this verse, the word Nitya Yukta means continuously in trance, such as person who is continuously thinking of Krishna and always engaged in Krishna consciousness in the highest yogi. His attain is not diverted to Dhyana Yoga, or any other system. Or for him, there is a only one system. Krishna Ananya Chaita means without deviation. A Krishna conscious devotee is not disturbed by anything because his mind is always concentrated on Krishna. The word Satam means that he is the thinking of Krishna at all places and all times. When Krishna descended onto the earth, he appeared in Vrindavan. Although I am presently living in America, my residence in Vrindavan because I am always thinking of Krishna. Although I am maybe in New York apartment, my consciousness is there, and this is as good as being there. Krishna consciousness means always living with Krishna in his spiritual planet because we are conscious of Krishna. We are ready living with him, already living with him. We simply have to wait to give up material body to go there. For one who remember Krishna without deviation, he is easy to obtain. Tasyam sulabham patha. I become other devotee. I'm done.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading. Okay, who wants to
Hare
continue?
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. I would like to continue.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Very cheap for them. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness, the most valuable thing becomes very easy to obtain because one is engaged in Bhakti Yoga. Krishna becomes easily available. Why should we try to write Krishna when Krishna himself says, I am easy to obtain? We have only to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, 24 hours a day. There is no fast rule and regulation. We can chant in the street or on the subway, in our home or in our office. There is neither expenditure or tax, no tax. Actually, Krishna, being omnipotent, is unquarrable, but it is said that he is not only obtained but conquered through pure devotional service. As stated before, it is generally very difficult to realize Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one of his name is Ajita, means he whom no one can conquer. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14:3, Lord Brahma appears to Ajita, Jane prayasam upadasya namata eva jivanti san mukha Mukharitam bhavadiyavartam sate sthane sthita shruti gatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayasa jita jito priya asi taris trilokyam. O my dear Lord Ajita, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truth, should hear from self-realized devotee about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter. Surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashrama or chosen status. Indeed, you are conquered by such person, although you are always unconquerable. Let me note this, Prabhu. Which verse is that? 10, 14? 10, 14, 3. Okay, 1 second, Prabhu. Yes, we're done. Okay. Um, where where was I? In this verse, in this verse, I think this, Prabhu, this, yes. In this verse, the words Gyane Prayasam refers to theosophists and philosophers who are trying to year after year and life after life understand God or the absolute truth. Their attempts are like those of the frog in a well trying to comprehend the vastness of the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. Even our attempts to measure outer space are futile. To say nothing of the attempt to measure God, such attempts are doomed to failure. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that we abandon all attempts to measure the Supreme. It is completely useless to try to understand God by our limited knowledge. And an intelligent man understand this. We should become submissive and try to understand that our position is that of a very insignificant segment in this creation. The words mamanta eva indicate that we are just to become submissive in order to understand the supreme form, a reliable source. And what is this source? Sun Mukharetam, from the lips of self-realized soul. Arjuna is understanding God directly from the lips of Krishna. And when we have to understand God directly from the lips of Krishna, and we have to understand God through the lips of Arjuna or his bona fide representative. We can understand this transcendental nature of God only from a reliable source. That source may be Indian, European, American, Japanese, Hindu, Muslim, or whatever. The circumstances are not permanent. The circumstances are not permanent. We just have to try to understand by hearing and then try to put the process to practice in our daily lives by becoming submissive, hearing from the right source and trying to apply the teaching in our daily lives. We can become conqueror of the supreme. For one who does this, Lord Krishna becomes easily available. Ordinarily, God realization is very difficult, but it is very easy for one who submissively hears. Shruti Gatam. There are two processes by which we can acquire knowledge. One is the ascending process, Aroha Pantha, and the other is a descending process, Avaroha Pantha. By the ascending process, one attempts to understand God by his own efforts, by philosophizing and meditating and speculating. According to the descending process, one acquires knowledge simply by hearing from an authority, from the bona fide spiritual master and the scripture. As far as the ascending process is concerned, it is stated in Brahma Samhita 5.34. Panthas tukoti sata vatsara sampragamyo vayor athapi manaso muni punga vanam so shafai asti yat prapada simnai avichinte tatve govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yeah, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, On the tips of the toes of those lotus feet are approached by the yogis and the gyanis, who travel for billions of years at the speed of the wind or mind. We can all understand how great the speed of mind is. Although sitting in New York City, I can immediately think of India, which is thousands and thousands of miles away. It is herein stated that even if one travels at the speed of for billions of years, Krishna will still remain inconceivable. The word Muni Punigavan Punigavan refers to a great thinker, not an ordinary man. Even if such great thinker, he will still find the supreme person unknowable. Yet for one who takes undeviantly to this path of Krishna consciousness, Krishna is easy to obtain. Why is this? Nitya yuktasya yoginaha. Because such a person is constantly engaged in my devotional service, and I cannot forget him. So this is a process. We have only to become submissive to attract the attention of God. My Guru Maharaj used to say, don't try to see God, but work in such a way that God will see you. God will take care of you. We don't have to try to see him. This should be our attitude. We should not think, I want to see God. Oh God, please come and stand before me. Be like my servant. But since God is no one's servant, we have to oblige him by our love and service. We all know that how difficult it is to see the king or president of a country. It is practically impossible for an ordinary man to get an interview with such an important person. To say nothing of having this important person come and stand before him. Yet people are demanding the supreme personality of Godhead come and stand before him. It is our nature to hanker after Krishna because he is the most attractive, most beautiful, most opulent, most powerful, most learned, and most famous person in the universe. Everyone hankers after these qualities, and Krishna is the receiver of all these qualities, and he possesses them in full. Krishna is a receiver of everything. Rasovai Saha. Therefore, when we hanker after beauty or power of knowledge of fame, we should just turn our attention to Krishna. Then we will automatically get whatever our heart desire.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, the next chapter is very long, so it's the
Can I
final
read more?
chapter.
I came late, so can I read more?
Yes, Prabhu. Let's read the last chapter also. Haribol.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you. Path of Perfection, chapter 10. Mama Yupeta Punarjanma Dukhalayam Ashashvatam Na Punovanti Matmana Samsiddhim Paramam Gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to his temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Bhagavad Gita 8.15. The material world is certified by its very creator, the Supreme Lord, as Dukhalam, which means the place of miseries. Since this is the case, how can we possibly make it comfortable by so-called scientific advancement? Dukkha means misery or suffering, and real suffering is birth, old age, disease, and death. We have set this problem aside because we cannot solve them. Therefore, scientists concentrate on atomic bombs and spaceships. Why can't they solve these problems, important problems that they are always causing us to suffer? Obviously, they haven't the power to do so. But in this verse, Sri Krishna gives the solution. Mama vipeta punarjanma. That is, if one attains my platform, he does not come back again to this place of misery. Unfortunately, in the mode of ignorance, people cannot understand that they are in miserable situation. Animals cannot understand their miserable situation because they haven't the reason. Main processes reason man possesses reason whereby he can understand this, but in this age people are using their reasoning power in order to gratify their animal propensities. Reason should be used in getting liberated from this miserable condition. However, if you engage in Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day without deviation, we will go to Krishna and not be reborn in this miserable world. Mat manaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. Those great souls who have attained the highest perfection, Krishna consciousness, are forever freed from misery. In this verse, the word Mahatma refers to a Krishna conscious man eligible to enter the abode of Krishna. The word Mahatma does not refers to a political leader like Mahatma Gandhi, but to a great soul, a pure devotee of Krishna. When Krishna says that the Mahatma enters his abode, he is referring to his transcendental kingdom, Goloka Vrindavana. The Vrindavana from which I have come is called Bhauma Vrindavana, which means it is the same Vrindavana descend on this earth. Yeah. Just as Krishna descend on this earth, though through his own eternal potency, similarly, his Dhamma, his abode also descends. In other words, when Krishna descends on this earth, he manifests himself in that particular land. Vrindavan, therefore, that land is also sacred. Apart from this, Krishna has his own abode in the spiritual sky, and this is called Goloka Vrindavana. The Mahatma prepares in this life to enter the transcendental abode. The human form of life can utilize human form of life utilize nature to its best interest. Animals cannot. These facilities should be utilized in striving to become a Mahatma or putting an end to birth in this material world, which is categorized by threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those that pertain to the mind or the body, right? Nature disturbance and miseries caused by other living entities. Whatever our position, whatever our position in this material world, there is always some kind of miseries being inflicted upon us. Shri Krishna frankly says that it is not possible to avoid misery in this material world because this world is meant for misery. Unless miseries are present, we cannot come to Krishna consciousness. Miseries serve as a impetus to help elevate us to Krishna consciousness. An intelligent person understand that although he does not want misery, miseries are being inflicted upon him by force. No one wants misery, but a person should be intelligent enough to question, why are these miseries being forced upon me? Unfortunately, in modern civilization, people try to set miseries aside thinking, oh, why suffer? Let me cover my miseries with some intoxication. However, the miseries of life cannot be solved by artificial intoxication. As soon as the intoxication is over, one returns to the same point. The miseries of material existence can be solved only by Krishna consciousness. If we always remain in Krishna consciousness, we will be transferred to Krishna planet upon leaving this material body. This is called the highest perfection. People may inquire why. Sorry, well, you say that entering Krishna's planet constitutes the highest perfection, but we are interested in going to the moon. Is this not a kind of perfection? Well, the desire to enter the higher planets is always there in the human mind. In fact, another name of the living entity is Sarvagata, which means that he wants to travel everywhere. That is the nature of the living entity. Americans who have money often go to India, Europe, or some other place, a country, because they do not like to stagnate in one place. That is our nature, and therefore we are interested in going to the moon or wherever. But according to Krishna, even if we attain the higher planet, we are still subject to material miseries. Abrahma bhuvanallokaha punar avartino arjuna mamupete tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all these places of miseries where repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. 8.16. The universe is divided into 14 planetary systems. Chaturvhasa Bhuvana, 7 lower and 7 higher. The earth is situated in the middle. In this verse, Sri Krishna says, Abrahma Bhuvanal Lokaha. Even if one enters the highest planet, Ratrim Yoga, where is it? Yeah, Brahma, there is still birth and death. The word Punar Avartinaha means returning again or repetition with birth and death, where we are changing bodies just as we change clothes, leaving one body and entering another. All planets are filled with living entities. We should not think that only the earth is inhabited. There are living entities on the higher planets and lower planets as well. From our experience, we can see that no place on earth is vacant of living entities. If we dig into the earth, we found some worms, and if we go into the water, we found many aquatics. This air is filled with birds, and if you analyze outer space, we will find many living entities. I think analyze our space, we will find many living entities. It is illogical to conclude that there are no living entities on the other planets. To the contrary, they are full of living entities. In any case, Krishna says that from the highest planet to the lowest planet, there is a repetition birth and death. And yet again, as in the former verses, he says, Maupatya, if you reach my planet, you don't have to return to this miserable material world. To stress this point, Sri Krishna repeats that upon reaching Goloka, Vrindavana, this eternal abode, one is liberated from the cycle of birth and death and attains eternal life. Eternal life. It is the duty of human life to understand this problem and attain blissful eternal life that is full of knowledge. Unfortunately, people in this age have forgotten the aim of life. Why? Bhagavatam 7.5.31. People have been trapped by the material glitter, by skyscrapers, big factories, and the political activities. People do not stop to consider that however big the skyscraper may be, they will not be allowed to live there indefinitely. We should not spoil our energy, therefore, in building great cities, but should employ our energy to elevate ourselves to Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not a religious formula for some spiritual recreation, but it is the most important factor in our lives. People are interested in attaining higher planets because their one's enjoyment is 1,000 times greater and the duration of life much longer. Yes, Prabhu, then. Shastra Yoga Prayatma Aharyad Brahmanu Viduhu. Shastra. Yeah. Raitem Yoga Shastra Nantam Teho Tatra Vidu Jnanaha. Bhagavad Gita 8.17. The duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycle of kalpas. A kalpa is the day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is categorized by virtue, wisdom, and religion. There being practically no ignorance and vice. The yugas last 17,20,000 years. In the Treta Yoga, vice is introduced in yoga, and this yoga lasts 12,96,000 years. In the Dwapara Yuga, there is an even greater decline in virtue and religion. Why is interesting in this yoga lasts 8,64,000. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the yoga we have now been experiencing over past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, religion, and vice, virtue, and true virtue being practically non-existent. This yoga lasts 4,30,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the yoga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as a Kalki Avatara. vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These 4 yugas, rotating 1,000 times, comprise one day of Brahma. The creator, the create, sorry, where do I? Compromise a day. The creator, yes, the creator God, and the same number compromise 19. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by earth calculation total 311 trillion 40 million earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable, but from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. In the cosmic ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and dissipating like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creations are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the management of the universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahma Loka, which is the highest planet in the material. Yes, then material universe and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper strata of the planetary system. But in due course, Brahma and all inhabitants of Brahmaloka are subject to death, according to the law of material nature. So even if we live billions and trillions of years, we have to die. Death cannot be avoided. Throughout the entire universe, the process of creation and annihilation is taking place, as described in the next verse. Avektad Vektayat. Oh, okay. When Brahma's day is manifested, this multitude of living entities comes into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. Bhagavad Gita 8.18. Unless we go to the spiritual sky, there is no escaping this process of birth and death. Creation and annihilation. When Brahma's days are finished, all these planetary systems are covered by water. And when Brahma arises again, creation takes place. The word ahar means in the daytime, which is 12 hours of Brahma's life. During this time, this material manifestation, all these planets are seen. But when night comes, they are all merged in water. That is, they are annihilated. The word Ratri Agame means at the fall of night. During this time, all these planets are invisible because they are inundated with water. This flux is the nature. Is the nature of the material world. Bhuta gramaha sa evayam bhutva bhutava pralayite ratre agame vasaha partha prabhavati ahar agame. Again and again the day comes and the host of being is active, and again the night falls, O Partha, they are helplessly dissolved. Bhagavad Gita 8.19. Although we do not want devastation is inevitable, but at night everything is flooded, and when day appears, gradually the water disappears. For instance, on this one planet, the surface is 3/4 covered with water. Gradually, land is emerging, and the day will come when there no longer be water but simply land. This is a nature process. Parastasmat tu bhavo vaktyo vaktyat sanatanaha yaya sarveshu bhuteshu nasyasana vinasati. Yet there is another nature which is eternal and transcendental to the manifested and non-manifested matter. It is supreme and never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that parts remain as it is. Bhagavad Gita 8.20. We cannot calculate the length and breadth of the universe. There are millions and millions of universes like this within sky, material world, and above this material world is a spiritual sky where the planets are all eternal. Life, this material manifestation comprises only 1/4 of the entire creation. Ekam Sena Sthito Jagat. Ekam Sena means 1/4. 3/4 of the creation is beyond this material sky, which is covered like ball. This covering extends millions and millions of miles, and only after penetrating that covering can one enter the spiritual sky. That is open tasmat to bhavanaha. Yet there is another nature. The word bhava means another nature. We have experience only with this material nature, but from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that there is a spiritual nature that is transcendental and eternal. We actually belong to the spiritual nature because we're spirit, but presently we are covered by this material body, and therefore we are in combination of the material and spiritual, just as we can understand, where Bhava, yeah, just as we can understand, yes, that we are in combination of both nature. We should understand also that there is a spiritual world beyond this material universe. Spiritual nature is called superior and material nature is called inferior, because without spirit matter cannot move. This cannot be understood by experimental knowledge. We
Can I, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, please continue.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Jai Srila Prabhupada. May look at millions and millions of stars through telescopes, but we cannot approach what we are seeing. Similarly, our senses are so insufficient that we cannot approach an understanding of the spiritual nature. Being incapable, we should not try to understand God and His kingdom by experimental knowledge. Rather, we have to understand by hearing Bhagavad Gita. There is no other way. If we want to know who our father is, we simply have to believe our mother. We have no other way of knowing except by her. Similarly, in order to understand who God is and what His nature is, we have to accept the information given in Bhagavad Gita. There is no question of experimenting. Once we become advanced in Krishna consciousness, we will realize God and His nature. We can come to understand, yes, there is God and a spiritual kingdom, and I have to go there. I must prepare myself to go there. The word Vyakta means manifest. This material universe that we are seeing or practically seeing before us is manifest. At least at night, we can see that stars are twinkling and that there are innumerable planets. But behind this Vekta is another nature called Avekta, which is unmanifest. That is the spiritual nature, which is Sanatana, eternal. This material nature has a beginning and an end, but that spiritual nature has neither being nor end. This material sky is within the covering of the Mahat Tattva, matter. This matter is like a cloud. When there is a storm, it appears that the entire sky is covered with clouds, but actually only an insignificant part of the sky is covered, because we are very minute every minute, if just a few hundred millions or miles are covered, it appears that the entire sky is covered. As soon as the wind comes and blows the clouds away, we can see the sky once again, like the clouds. This Mahat Tattva covering has a beginning and an end. Similarly, the material body, being a part of material nature, has a beginning and the end. The body is born, grows, stays for some time, leaves some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. Whatever material whatever material manifestation we see undergoes these six basic transformations. Whatever exists within material nature will ultimately be vanish when questioned. But herein Krishna is telling us that behind this vanishing cloud like material nature, there is a superior nature which is Sanatana, eternal. Yasa Sarveshu Bhuteshu Nasyansu Na Vinashanti. When this material manifestation is annihilated, that spiritual sky remains. This is called Avekto Vektata. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of the spiritual sky and the material. Spiritual sky and the people who live there. Its nature and features are also discussed. From this second canto, we understand that there are spiritual aeroplanes in the spiritual sky, and that the living entity there who are all liberated travel like lightning on those planes throughout the spiritual sky. This material world is simply an animation. Whatever we see here is simply a shadow of what exists there. The material world is like a cinema wherein we see but an animations or a shadow of the real thing that he is existing. This material world is only a shadow, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 1, chapter verse 1, Yatra Tri Sargo Brasa. This illusory material world is a combination of matter. In store windows, we often see mannequins, but no sane man thinks that these mannequins are real. He can see that they are emanations. Similarly, whatever we see here may be beautiful, just as a mannequin may be beautiful, but it is simply an animation of the real beauty found in the spiritual world. As Sridhara Swami says, Yat Satyatya Mithya Sargo Opi Satyavat Pratyate. Okay, the spiritual world is real, and this unreal material manifestation only appears to be real. We must understand that reality will never be vanquished, and that his essence, reality, means eternality. Therefore, material pleasure, which is temporary, is not actual. Real pleasure exists in Krishna. Consequently, those who are after the reality don't participate in this shadow pleasure. Those when everything in the material world is annihilated, that the spiritual nature remains eternally, and it is the purpose of human life to reach that spiritual sky. Unfortunately, people are not aware of the reality of the spiritual sky. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter 31 verse Nate vidhu savrata gatim hi Vishnu. Vishnu. People do not know their self-interest. They do not know that human beings is meant for understanding spiritual reality and preparing oneself to be transferred to that reality. No one can remain here in this material world. All Vedic literatures instruct us in this way. Tamase ma jyotirgama. Gama. Don't remain in this darkness. Go to the light. According to the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter 6th verse, Natad bhasyate suryo nasana ko na pavakaha yadgatava na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That abdomen of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, or nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. This material world is dark by nature, and we are artificially illuminating it with electric lights, fire, and so on. In any case, its nature is dark, but the spiritual nature is full of light. When the sun is present, there is no darkness. Similarly, where a planet in the spiritual sky is luminous, therefore there is no darkness, nor is there need of sun, moon, or electricity. The word Suryo means sun, Sanko means moon, and Pavakaha means fire or electricity. So these are not required in the spiritual sky for illumination. And again, Krishna herein says, Yad Gathava na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That is my supreme abdomen, and one who reaches it never returns to this material world. This is stated throughout Bhagavad Gita. Again, in this 8th chapter, 21 verse, avyakto ksara ityo yuksa tam ahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That the supreme abdomen is called a man manifested and infallible, and it is the supreme destination. When one goes there, he never comes back. That is my supreme abdomen. Again, the word avyakta means unmanifested is used. The word aksara means that which is never annihilated, or that which is infallible. This means that since the supreme abdomen is eternal, it is not subject to the six transformations mentioned previously. Next row. Previously, because we are presently covered by a dress of material senses, we cannot see the spiritual world, and the spiritual nature is inconceivable for us, yet we can feel that there is something spiritual present. Even a man completely ignorant of the spiritual nature can somehow feel its presence. One need only analyze his body silently. What I am. Am I this finger? Am I this body? Am I this hair? No, I am not this. I am not that. I am something other than this body. I am something behind this body. What is that? That is the spiritual. In this way, we can feel or senses the presence of spirituality within this matter. We can sense the absence of spirit with when a body is dead. If we witness someone dies, we can sense that something is leaving the body. Although we do not have the eyes to see it, that something is spirit. Its presence in the body is explained in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 217, verse अविन्यासितु तद्विधि येन स्रवम् इदं दत्तं विनाशम् अव्ययस्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति. Know that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Spiritual existence is eternal, whereas the body is not. It is said that the spiritual atmosphere is avyakta, unmanifest. How then can it be manifest for us? Making the unmanifest manifest is this very process of Krishna consciousness. According to Padma Purana, Akta Sri Krishna Samadhi na Bhavid Grihayam Indriyeya Sevanamukhi Jivadhu Swayam Eva Sprishurate Adhyay. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the built material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. In this verse, the word Indriya means the senses. We have 5 senses for gathering knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, and 5 senses for working: voice, hands, legs, and genitals, and onions. And these 10 senses are under the control of the mind. It is stated in this verse that with these dull material senses, we cannot understand Krishna's name, form, and so forth. Why is this? Krishna is completely spiritual, and he is also absolute. Therefore, his name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia are also spiritual. Due to material conditioning or material bondage, we cannot presently understand what is spiritual. But this ignorance can be removed by chanting Hare Krishna. If a man is simply, he can be awakened by sound vibration. You can call him, come on, it's time to get up. Although the although the person is unconscious, hearing is so prominent that even a sleeping man can be awakened by sound vibration. Similarly, overpowered by this material conditioning, our spiritual consciousness is presently sleeping, but it can be revived by this transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As stated before, Hare refers to the energy of the Lord, and Krishna and Rama refers to the Lord himself. Therefore, when we chant the Hare Krishna, we are praying, "Oh Lord, oh energy of the Lord, please accept me. We have no other prayers, then please accept me." Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us that we should simply cry and pray that the Lord accept us, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself prayed Anyenandha Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vimse Abhaut Bhava, sorry, Bhava Buddha Krupaya Tava Padapankaja Stita Dule Sadarsam Vichintaya. O Krishna, son of Nanda, somehow or other I have fallen into this ocean of science or sorry, sense and ignorance. Please pick me up and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. If a man has fallen into the ocean, his only hope for several is that someone comes to pick him up. He only has to be lifted 1 inch above the water in order to feel uh, immediate relief. Similarly, as soon as we take to Krishna consciousness, we are lifted up and we feel immediate relief. We cannot doubt that the transcendental is there. Bhagavad Gita is being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Therefore, we should not doubt His word. The only problem is feeling and understanding what He is telling us. That understanding must be developed gradually, and that knowledge will be revealed by the chanting of Hare Krishna. By this simple process, we can come to understand the spiritual kingdom, the self, the material world, God, the nature of our conditioning, liberation from material bondage, and everything else. This is called Chetodarpana Marjanam, cleaning the dusty mirror of the impure mind. Cleaning the dusty mirror of the impure mind. Whatever the chase, whatever the case, we must have faith in word of Krishna. When we purchase a ticket on Pan America, Pan America or here India, we have faith that the company will take us to our destination. Faith is created because the company is authorized. Our faith should not be blind. Therefore, we should accept that which is recognized. Bhagavad Gita has been recognized as authorized scripture in India for thousands of years. And even outside India, there are many scholars, religionists and philosophers who have accepted Bhagavad Gita as authoritative. It is said that even such a great scientist as uh, Albert Einstein was reading Bhagavad Gita regularly, so we should not doubt Bhagavad Gita authenticity. Authenticity. Okay. Therefore, when Lord Krishna says that there is a supreme abode and that we can go there, we should have faith that such an abode exists. Many philosophers will think that the spiritual abode is impersonal or void. Impersonal is like the Sankirtis, Sankritis and Buddhists generally speak of void or emptiness, emptiness. But Bhagavad Gita does not disappoint us in this way. The philosophy of voidism has simply created atheism because it is the nature of living entity to want enjoyment. As soon as he thinks that he future is void, he will try to enjoy the wait very variegatedness of the material life. Those impersonalism leads to armchair philosophical decisions, and and attachment to material enjoyment. We may enjoy speculating, but no real spiritual benefit can be derived from such speculation. Bhakti Pari Sanubhavo Viraktir Anyatara Cha Bhagavad Bhagavad Bhagavatam 11 Canto Chapter 242 verse. Once we have developed the devotional spirit, we will become immediately detached from all kinds of material enjoyment as soon as an anger man eats, he feels immediate satisfaction and says, "No, I don't want anymore. I am satisfied." This satisfaction is characteristic of the Krishna consciousness man. Brahma Bhutan Prasantam Na Sochit न कस्ति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते param. Once who is those transiently situated at once realize the supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18, chapter 54, verse. As soon as one is spiritually realized, he feels full satisfaction and no longer hankers after flickering material enjoyment, as stated in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 59th verse. We Visya. Hare Krishna, bro. Visya. Visya Vinivartante Nirharsya Dihinha Rasa Vrajam Rasopya Asya Param Drishtiva Nivartante. The embodied soul may be. Oh, okay, Prabhu. Okay, Hare Krishna.
The embodiment soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste of a sense object remains. But choosing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. A doctor may tell a diseased man, "Don't eat this, don't eat that, don't have sex, don't." In this way, a diseased man is forced to accept so many don'ts. But inside he is can you please call it up? Inside he is thinking, "Oh, if I can just get these things, I will be happy." The desires remain inside. However, one is established in Krishna consciousness, he is so strong inside that he does not experience the desire. Experience the desire. Although he is not important, he does not want sex. He can marry thrice, but still be detached. Param drishtva nivartate. When something superior is occurred, one naturally gives up all inferior things. That atheism and impersonalism cannot give us. Yes, what next? Yeah. Purusha paraha partha bhaktya lavasya ananyad yasyantyaha sthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in this abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. Bhagavad Gita 8.22. The words Purusha Paraha indicate the Supreme Person who is greater than all others. This is not a void speaking, but a person who has all the characteristics of personality in full. Just as we are talking face to face, when we reach the supreme abode, we can talk to God face to face. We can play with him, eat with him, and everything else. The state is not acquired by mental speculation but by the transcendental loving service. Bhaktya lavaya. The words tva ananya indicate that the bhakti must be without adulteration. It must be annulled. Although the supreme personality is a person and is present in his abode in the spiritual sky, so widespread that everything is within him. He is both inside and outside. Although God is everywhere, he still has his kingdom, his abode. The sun may pervade the universe with its sunshine, yet the sun itself is a separate entity. Yeah. In this supreme abode, the supreme lord has no rival. Whenever we may be, we find a predominating personality. In the United States, the predominating personality is the president. However, when the next election comes, the president will have so many rivals. But in the spiritual sky, the supreme lord has no rival. Those who want to become rivals are placed in this material world under the condition of material nature. In the spiritual sky, there is no rivalry, and all inhabitants therein are a liberated soul. From Srimad Bhagavatam, we receive information that their body features resembles God's. Right? In some of the spiritual planets, God manifests in two-armed form, and in another, he manifests a four-armed form. The living entities of those planets have corresponding features, and one cannot distinguish who is God and who is not. This is called Swarupa Mukti, liberation, wherein one has the same feature as the Lord. There are 5 kinds of liberations: Saujya, Sarupa, Salokya, Sarasati, and Sampya. Saujya Mukti means merging into God's impersonal effulgence and Brahma Jyoti. We have discussed this and we have concluded that the attempt to merge and lose individuality is not desirable and is very risky. Sarupa Mukti means attaining the body exactly like God. Saloka Mukti means living on the same planet with God. Sarasati Mukti means having the opulence of God. For instance, God is very powerful and we can become powerful like him. That is called Sarasati. Samapya Mukti means always remaining with God as one of his associate. For instance, Arjuna is always with Krishna as his friend, and this is called Samapya Mukti. We can attain any of these 5 types of liberation, but out of these 5, Saujya Mukti merging into the Brahma Jyoti is rejected by Vaishnava philosophy. Yeah, Vaishnava philosophy. Yes. Yes. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, we worship God as He is and retain our separate identity eternally in order to serve Him. According to the Mayavada philosophy, impersonalism, one tries to lose his individual identity and merge into the existence of the Supreme. That, however, is a suicidal policy and is not recommended by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. This has also been rejected by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who advocate worship in separation. As stated before, a pure devotee does not even want liberation. He simply asks to remain Krishna's devotee birth after birth. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Their word birth after birth indicate that there is no liberation. This means that the devotee does not care whether he is liberated or not. He simply wants to engage in Krishna consciousness to serve the Supreme Lord. Always wanting to engage in God's transcendental loving service in the symptom of pure devotion. Of course, whenever a devotee remains in the spiritual kingdom, even though in the material body, on this part, he does not demand any of the 5 types of liberation, nor anything for his personal security or comfort, but in order to associate with God in the spiritual planet, when one must become his pure devotee. For those who are not pure devotees, Lord Krishna explains at one times one should leave the body in order to attain liberation. Yatra kale tva anarvrittam avartitam chaiva yoginah prayatantitam kalam vakshayami bharatar sabha. O best of Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, one does or does not come back. Bhagavad Gita 8.23. In India, unlike in the West, it is common for astrologers to make minute calculation for the astronomical situation at the moment of one's birth. Indeed, the person horoscope is ready to not only when he's born but also when he dies, in order to determine what his situation will be in the next life. All this can be determined by astrological calculation. In this verse, Lord Krishna is accepting this astrological principle, confirming that if one leaves his body at a particular time, he may attain liberation. If one dies at one moment, he may be liberated. Or if he, right, or yes, where I was, at moment he may be liberated, or if he dies at another moment, he may have to return to the material world. It is it is all question of chance, but what chance somehow some way or other is what one has. For the devotee, however, there is no question of chance. Whatever the astrological situation, the devotee in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed liberation. For other, there are chances that if they leave their body at a particular moment, they may attain liberation, enter the spiritual kingdom, or they may be born, it may be reborn. Agni Jyotir Aha Shukha Shuklaha San Masa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vido Janaha Jnanaha. Those who know the Supreme Brahman pass away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment during the fortnight of the moon and 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Bhagavad Gita 8.24. As we all know, the sun's movement are different. 6 months it is north of the equator, and 6 months it is south. The sun is also moving. According to the Vedic calculation and from Srimad Bhagavatam, we are informed that the sun is situated at the center of the universe. Just as all the planets are moving, the sun is at speed calculated to be 16,000 miles per second. If a person dies when the sun is in the northern hemisphere, he can attain liberation. That is also of other scriptures. Dhumoratis tatha Krishna san masa darshiyananam yat tatra chandramasyam jyotir yogi prapya nivartate. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the moonless fortnight, or in the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, or who reaches the moon planet, again comes back. Bhagavad Gita 8.25. No one can say when he is going to die, and in that sense, the moment of one's death is accidental. However, for a devotee in Krishna consciousness, there is no question of accidents. Shluka Krishna gati ate jagatha sasvate mate ekayavate anarvittam anaya vartate punaha. According to the Vedas, there are two ways of passing from this world. One is light and one is darkness. When one passes in the light, he does not come back. And when one passes darkness, he returns. Bhagavad Gita 8.26. The same description of departure and return is quoted by Acharya Varada Vidyabhushana from the Chandogya Upanishad. In such a way, those who are fruitive laborers and philosophical speculators from the time immemorial are constantly going and coming. Actually, they do not attain ultimate salvation, for they do not surrender to Krishna. Naite Sri Partha Jnanan Yogi Mahite Kaschana. Yeah. The devotees who, yes, Tasmat Sarvesu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. The devotees who know these two paths, O Arjuna, are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Bhagavad Gita 8.27. Herein the Lord confirms that there is no chance for one who practices Bhakti Yoga. His destination is certain. Whether he dies when the sun is in the northern or southern hemisphere is of no importance. As we have already stated, if one thinks of Krishna at the time of death, he will at once be transferred to Krishna's abode. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna to always remain in Krishna consciousness. This is possible through the chanting of Hare Krishna, since the Krishna and his spiritual kingdom are non-different. Being absolute, Krishna and his sound vibration are the same. Simply by vibrating the Krishna's name, we can enjoy Krishna's association. If we are walking down on the street chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is also going with us. If we walk down the street and look up at the sky, we may see that the sun or the moon is accompanying us. I can recall about 50 years ago, when I was a householder, my second son, who was about 4 years old at the time, he was walking with me down the street, and he suddenly asked me, "Father, why is this moon going with us?" If a material object like the moon has the power to accompany us, we can surely understand the Supreme Lord, who is all powerful, can always remain with us, being omnipotent. He can always keep us company, provided that we are also qualified to keep his as company. Pure devotees are always merged in the thought of Krishna and are always remembering that Krishna is also with them. Krishna is with them. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has confirmed the absolute nature of Krishna in his Sikshashtaka verse 2. Mamnam akari bahudha nija sarva shaktis tatar pita niyamitha smaranena kalaha itar drishe tava kripa bhagavan mamapi dudar daivam idarsham iha jani nanurgaha. O my Lord, O Supreme Person of God, Supreme Person of Godhead, in your holy name, holy name, there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy names, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. We may take the effort to spend a great deal of money and attempt to establish a temple for Krishna, but if we do so, we must observe many rules and regulations to see properly to the temple's management. But herein it is confirmed that simply by chanting, any man can have the benefit of keeping company with Krishna. Just as Arjuna is deriving benefit by being in the same chariot with Lord Krishna or Shri Krishna, we can also benefit by associating with Krishna, though the chanting of his Hare Krishna, these names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Maha Mantra is not any personal concoction, but it's authorized by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is considered to be not only an authority, but the incarnation of God, or Lord Shri Krishna himself. It was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who said, "Oh Lord, you are so kind to the people of the material world that you expand yourself in your holy name so that they can associate with you." Although the Maha Mantra is in the Sanskrit language and many people do not know its meaning, it is still so attractive that people participate when it is chanted publicly. When chanting the Maha Mantra, we are completely safe, even in the most dangerous position. Always be aware that in this material world, we are always in dangerous position. Srimad Bhagavatam confirms padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. In the world, there is a danger at every step. The devotees of the Lord, however, are not meant to remain in this miserable, dangerous place. Therefore, we should take care to advance in Krishna consciousness while in this human form. Then our happiness is assured.
Haribo.
Haribol.
Okay, now let's go to success to compare. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for giving opportunities.
Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam pudivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नामकारी बहुध निज सर्वशक्ते तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवान् ममापि दुर्दैवाद्रसं हैजनि ननुग्रह.
तिनादुपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरिः.
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवता भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि.
ऐनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितं मां विस्मयभवं बुधो कृपया तव पादपङ्कजः स्थितधूलि सदृशं विचिन्तय.
नयनं गदलम् अश्रुकधारया वदनं गद्गदाहृदया गिरा पुलकैर्निश्चिन्तं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति.
इवायितं निमेषेन चक्षुषा प्रवर्षयितं सुनियायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे.
आलिष्यावापदारतं विनस्तु माम् अदर्शनो मरं हतं कतो वा यथा तथा वा विम्पटो यथा तथा वा विदधुतु लम्पटो मत्प्राण न स तु स एव न परः.
Oh.
Sorry.
Translation. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings and those who have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of all prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, or nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Maharajananda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and please place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the repetition of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, some considering a
Oh
moment.
Govinda, feeling of separation, I am considering a moment. Continue.
Yes, Prabhu, you can continue. Haribol.
Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna says my Lord has, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
हरि बोल श्री शिक्षाष्टकम की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, पंचतत्व की जय, नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय, श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, जगत गुरु श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि
Hari 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 Bol.
बोल।